Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside Indiana Sports Now with Kent Sterling. It's Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. May the 4th be with you. We are brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry, Dr. Mike O'Neill, the finest dentist I've ever gone to, the only dentist I've gone to the last 27 years. You'll do the same. You're going to go and you're going to say, I'm never going to another dentist. 317-849-2933. Take control of your dental health once and for all. Would you? Hit subscribe, hit like, ring the bell. Let's go. Let's talk about sports. We hit on this morning because there's a bit of a dust up yesterday on social media about whether or not names should be on the backs of Indiana basketball jerseys. I want to give you 10 reasons why there should be no name on there, and then I want to give you another 5 reasons why there should be a name on there. I'm kind of agnostic about this. I just don't care. I'm a little bit more pragmatic than to invest heavily in tradition for tradition's sake. If there is a practical reason to change the jerseys and put names on the back, I'm all for it. If there's not, why change? Anyway, here are the top 10 reasons to keep it the way it is without names on the back. Number 10, if a kid transfers, there's no need to order a replacement jersey. That saves the program what? Maybe $125 against their Adidas bill? Not a real reason. But we had to have 10. Here's number 9. Players will be likely to walk out of the locker room with a jersey that has his name stitched to it. I'm not going to mention any names, but I know a Division I basketball player who's very close to me who, when he played his last game, he stuffed a lot of stuff in a bag. He put jerseys with his name on them in a bag. I'm not mentioning any names, but if there wasn't a name on the back, I don't believe he would have done it. The number 30 doesn't convey that essence of identity that makes somebody believe that that jersey belongs to him. And so we don't like that kind of thing, do we, at Indiana University? People walking out of the locker room with stuff that just doesn't belong to them? No, we don't. Number 8, it encourages pride. Don't we have enough pride? Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. Pride isn't something you feel good about. You take no pride in pride. Pride goes first before the storm. I believe that's a saying. I may be getting that screwed up. But pride, unnecessary in basketball. Go out, work hard, try to win. Trying to represent the name on the back, I'm not big into that. Number 7, if it takes a name on a jersey to recruit a kid, I don't want that kid. If the kid says, you know what, I don't know whether I want to go to Duke, North Carolina, Indiana, or Illinois. Indiana is the only one that doesn't put my name on the jersey, so I'm not going to go to Indiana. That kid and a family who would make that decision along with that kid, they're not the kind of kid I want wearing an Indiana University in the first place. That's a stupid reason not to go to a school. So that's reason number 7. Reason number 6, parents will love it. Right? If a group as insane as parents love something, it must be wrong. There is no group in the world who to a person is more crazy than sports parents. There just isn't. They are all deranged. I led the parade when I was a sports parent. I was nuttier than hell. I had to keep score in a book or videotape games in order to distract myself sufficiently that I wasn't yelling at everybody in the gym. That's how crazy I was, and I think that the kids my son played with would classify me as one of the saner parents, which is not the case. I was not. Parents are nuts. Trying to somehow mollify parents, crazy. Don't do it. Don't walk that path because it ends in a terrible place. Do not make parents happy. Number 5, history. If it was good enough for Isaiah, if it was good enough for Quinn, Slick, Big George, Steve, Woody, Jordan, Yogi, Cody, Scott, and Uwe, it's not good enough for a 17-year-old who's being recruited by Indiana? Get out of here. What are you, crazy? Number 4, who wants more people knowing your name? Fame, I'm telling you, fame on any level is really a net negative. You talk to people who are famous, and they will tell you immediately. And without they will not back off this. Not at all. They are ardent supporters of being non-famous. all famous people. Fame is not in the aggregate a good thing. Having people know your name is not a great thing. Now, everybody's going to know your name at Indiana because that's what people do. They got programs, you got a number on your back. It's not like you're existing in anonymity, but why put your name in front of those who may otherwise not remember it? Number 3, fans know the players by their faces, not the names on the jerseys. We still, like Mike Woodson, hasn't played at Indiana in 41 years. He's now the head coach. We always knew what Mike Woodson looked like. We always knew what Isaiah Thomas looked like, Ray Tolbert, Steve Alford, Steve Isle, Cree Smith. I mean, Magnus Pelkowski. If Magnus Pelkowski walked into my house today, I'd say, Magnus, how are you? Because I used to see him on campus down at IU. Uwe Blop still looks exactly like Uwe Blop. We don't need him running around in an Indiana jersey to know that he's Uwe Blop. You don't need a name on your back when you play at Indiana to have people know who the hell you are. Number 2, who sees the names? Players never see the names. They're behind you. They're printed on the one place on your body, that jersey on the back where you can't see. You can turn around all you want, even if you're a gymnast. Even Red Panda, juggling bowls on a unicycle, as flexible as she is, she can't turn around and see Red Panda written on the back of her. She has no jersey. She has an outfit, but her name isn't on it. But if it was, she still couldn't look back there and see who that is. It's not possible. Do you see it on TV? No, because they shoot from the side. They're not shooting from behind. They shoot from the side, so people on TV never see it. Only the people behind the play, about 10 rows up, can see the names on the backs of the jersey. And parents, when they see you after the game, let me see the name on the back of your jersey. It's our name. Our name's on the back of the jersey. Isn't that fantastic? Please. Number 1, they don't have names now, and change should be motivated by a need, a practical need. What is practically gained by putting the names on the backs of the jerseys? Absolutely 100% nothing. Or really, to be more accurate, 0%. Nothing. Nothing is gained. The ball will not go in the basket. Indiana was ranked 300th in Division I this year shooting foul shots. They would not have made another foul shot, not one additional foul shot, had their names been on the backs of the jersey. Okay, here are 5 reasons why the names should be on the backs of the jerseys, because as I said, I'm kind of agnostic about the whole thing. Number 5, everybody else does it. If everybody else does it, there must be a good reason. This is not an invalid concept. Imitating others, even those you don't understand, well, that seems reasonable. Like if I have a friend who has great wealth, and I do the same thing with my money that friend does, that kind of logic is immutable. Frankly, putting names on the backs because other teams do it, you know what? Why not? Number 4, parents will love it. And why not make them happy? Who am I to dog out parents as a bunch of crazy people that you never want to please? Why not make them happy? There's nothing lost. The parents are happy. Why is this a bad thing? Number 3, maybe a top 10 recruit's going to come or not choose a school with names on the backs of jerseys because IU has them. That could happen. We don't want a kid to say, like the instance before, where you say, hey, that kid, I want to see my name on the jersey. When you go on the recruiting trip, they've got a jersey there for you. Here, put on the jersey. If you've got your name on it, it's a little bit of a closer, isn't it? Why not do that? Number 2, old people who can't remember numbers will be able to see the names. I had 3 comments today on YouTube saying exactly this. Look, I'm an old guy. I can't remember these kids' names by their numbers or what they look like. I need the names on the backs. That way I know who they are. And then 5 minutes later, I need to be reminded of who they are. You know what? A lot of these old guys, these old alums, these old boosters, they got all the money in the world. They got all kinds of cash. They write big checks. Please them. Number 1, why not? Who cares? What is lost by putting names on the backs? Is anything lost? I don't think a single thing is lost by putting names on the back, and that's why I'm agnostic about it. Not a single shot is going to be missed because they put, and kids, what, they're going to get more selfish? That's preposterous. They're not going to get more selfish. They're already pretty outrageously selfish, and Mike Woodson wouldn't let them get away with that anyway. So let's be honest about this and say it as it is, that it doesn't really matter. If you love the tradition, that's wonderful. If Scott Dolson loves the tradition, if Mike Woodson loves the tradition, I'm not going to argue with that. But if we're going to say, look, Indiana basketball will not be Indiana basketball without names on the back, that's just, or with names on the back, that's just crazy. You know, we had Slick Leonard not long before he died, went on the radio and said, look, what Indiana's got to do, sure, put names on the backs. Who cares? And get rid of the pajama bottoms. That's what he called the candy stripes. These are like traditions, but not to Slick. Slick won a national championship in 1953 and has given a lot of his life's work to the game of basketball and to Indiana University. So why not listen to Slick? That's reason number 6. All right, let's talk about the NFL. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Right now, the offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts is ranked 7th in terms of expense to their team. $44 million. Quentin Nelson's going to make $7.7 million this year. Braden Smith, 3.2. Those numbers are going to go way up next year, by the way. Nelson's going to go to 13.7. Smith, probably somewhere in that neighborhood as he signs an extension. Ryan Kelly's going to make 14.6 next year. Mark Lewinsky, 7.5 at left tackle. I don't know who's going to make what, because we don't know who the left tackle is going to be. If it's Sam Tevy, you know what? Wonderful. If it's Charles Leno, wonderful. $44 million is a truckload to pay for the offensive line. And here's the deal about expense of the offensive line. Do you want to know teams who outpay, the 6 teams who outpay the Colts? I'll give you some of them, okay? The top 4 paid offensive lines, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had the number 1 overall draft pick. That's all you need to know about Jacksonville. The Cleveland Browns, not a bad football team. All right, they're kind of an outlier. Number 3, the Washington football team. They stink on ice. They're terrible. And number 4 is the Jets. So don't think that an expensive offensive line is a cure for all ills. It's not. It's not a portend of good things to come. Spending on the offensive line disproportionately to the other parts of your roster is a great way to get things backwards and have substandard cornerbacks, substandard wide receivers. If you build from the inside out, you are sacrificing the talent that you could have on the outside. I get it. Things start on the inside. Can you put pressure on the quarterback to relieve the pressure on your cornerbacks? I get it. As an offensive line, can you alleviate pressure on the quarterback in order to put pressure on their cornerbacks? It's important to have a good offensive line. But if you have a great offensive line that is really expensive, you got big troubles. And the Colts don't want those kinds of troubles. And this is why I'm advocating, if he can do it, and I don't know whether he can do it, but if he can do it, if you can plug Quentin Nelson in at left tackle, all right, and you can get top 10 level play out of him at left tackle, that is a really, really good thing to pay your tackles, pay your center, and then plug and play guards. That really works. That is a good formula for putting together an offensive line. Now, with Quentin Nelson, you've got the best left guard in the game. So if you can stick next to him a mediocre left tackle and have it work just as it would a mediocre left guard or a mediocre left tackle and him at guard being the best in the game, that's great. But you've got to figure out a way to keep Carson Wentz from being on his back and getting injured, because if he gets injured, it's over. The season ends with that injury. If he misses 6 games, you're not going to make the playoffs. And that's why this decision about left tackle is really, really important. Tomorrow morning, breakfast with Kent. My God, we're back at it. Might even talk a little Pacers tomorrow. Pacers, you know what? 50 assists last night. Are you kidding me? You're killing me. You're killing me, Pacers. For God's sake, we'll talk about it tomorrow morning. Colts and IU too.